The so-called nuns on the bus who are making another run through campaign territory this week, they'll be headed to Ohio, where Mitt Romney will be speaking. Bill Donahue, could you tell us what are they really trying to get at? I understand from a column by Simone Campbell, the leader of these nuns, that she's believes that Ryan's position on Obamacare is not at all Catholic.
Right. You know, it's very interesting. We've looked into this. There was one bishop in California, Bishop Blair out of Stockton, California, who was mildly critical of Ryan and his budget, without even mentioning him by name, by the way, but it was pretty clear who he was talking about. I have found that there were 17 different bishops who have in one way or another sanctioned or reprimanded Vice President Joe Biden. That never seems to be mentioned because of his misrepresentation and intentional distortion of the Catholic teachings on subjects like abortion. Now, Sister Simone Campbell runs a group called Network. This is a group which is a dissident Catholic organization. It's not, don't take my word for it. The Vatican has clashed with Network many, many times because of the pro-abortion position of the organization. Now, that's a pretty strong charge. Let me give you some evidence. Just recently, we had the Democratic National Convention, and Sister Simone Campbell is the hero to these people who don't generally like Catholics, but they found one in her. And after it was over, she was asked by the Weekly Standard, a reporter for the Weekly Standard, a conservative publication in this country, does she also believe that abortion is wrong and she supports laws against it? She took a page out of President Obama, and she said, well, that's above my pay grade, so I really don't want to answer that. Well, I think we know what the answer is. There's no evidence that Network has ever put out a single statement regarding the life in the womb. Abortion is a civil rights issue. One would think that people concerned about social justice would be concerned about civil rights such as the life of the unborn, but she has no interest in whatsoever. And by the way, the last time they had the nuns on the bus over the spring, there were exactly 2 nuns who made the entire trip, and at no point did they have more than 6 on the bus. In other words, this is one of the greatest media scams that I've seen in my lifetime, perpetrated by Sister Simone Campbell.
She's in Ohio. Why do you expect she's in Ohio this week?
Well, Ohio, of course, is one of those key battleground states. The way it goes historically is if you get Ohio, you generally win the election. That may be a little bit overrated, but there's no question about it. It's a kind of a bellwether. And I understand why everybody would want to get Ohio. It's got a lot of electoral college votes. It's a swing state. But, you know, there are 57,000 nuns in this country. So if you can only get 6 to get on your bus all across the country and no more than 2 at any one time, you know, those figures aren't very impressive.
She's endorsed Obamacare. Does that track with most American nuns?
Oh, I don't think so. Most American nuns would stay out of this highly politicized kind of field that she's engaged in. Clearly, the nuns that I know of, the Sisters of Life, the Dominican sisters and others, the traditional habit-wearing nuns, they would have nothing to do with Sister Simone Campbell and her ilk. The fact of the matter is, she says that the Leadership Conference of Nuns, of which she's a part of, represents 57,000 nuns in this country. Why so few on the bus, and why is it that only 3% of American nuns even bother to pay their dues to the Leadership Conference of Women Religious? In other words, the media found themselves in Sister Simone Campbell, a nun whom they like, you know, and somebody who accepts their positions. She wants more government money spent on the poor. She doesn't want to address the subject of abortion. I myself, as recently as a few months ago, debated her on a radio show, and I put the question directly to her. Why is it that her organization has butted heads with the Vatican on so many times? Sister Marjorie Tweet and others who have gotten into trouble with the Vatican on the subject, and she just simply ignored my comment as if I didn't exist. Well, I think that was probably the smart thing to do, since what she's doing is patently indefensible.
This election, would you characterize it as a battle for the political soul among Roman Catholics in the United States, given how at loggerheads people seem to be over social justice issues and abortion, for example?
I don't know if I'd put it that way, and I'll tell you why. Only about half of the Catholics in this country, out of about 70 million, are really practicing. Of those who are practicing, they're overwhelmingly pro pro-life. And in fact, they voted for McCain over Obama. People don't know this in the last election by a thin margin of 1%. So what you see these people who call themselves Catholic and they answer on their cell phone to somebody from the Pew Research or the Gallup or Rasmussen, in many cases, these people haven't been to church at all in the past year, or if they have been there once or twice, they've stopped practicing altogether. So if you're not catechized, if you're not there in the pew and to listen to what the teachings are of the Catholic Church, it's not surprising that you are indistinguishable from other secularists in our society. It's somewhat analogous, quite frankly, to the Jewish community. Those Jewish people who are observant tend to be more likely to be pro-life, certainly, than those Jews who are secular. The Catholic community, those who are secular, tend to also, they like the idea of two men getting married, and they like the idea of having a woman, quote, choose whether or not she wants to terminate her pregnancy.
Thanks so much. We've been speaking to Bill Donohue of the Catholic League, and I'm Martin Barrios, reporting for Sparrow News. You can see us on our YouTube channel as well as sparrownews.com. Thanks a lot, Bill.
Thank you so much.